my friend. Sometimes when I feel it, I cry down. I hurt your heart, you know, but do not make it stress, cause it I feel be better, not feel living at the ghetto, feel be under the pressure, my friend.
From we born in the struggle, isolated in our bubble. One half in the rich, yet another for the poor. God bless and please help us, we can't take no more. We're feeling the pressure, we are down to the core. Oh, money for day, and when them send it off sure. And every nation come here get rich and we stay poor. Them show you $20, we go through the back door. Tell them, so we can't take no more.
Under the pressure, yeah, under the pressure. If your watch up, be take away now. We cheat na second, cause we all under pressure, my friend. Sometimes when you feel it, you cry down. I hurt your heart, you know, but do not make it stress, cause it I feel be better, not feel living at the ghetto, feel be under the pressure, my friend. Yeah. Lord have mercy, this can't get no worse. I feel call it a curse, so me heart it a hurt me. Call it thirsty because from me birth to the first me I feel like the father did me. But all when the pressure erupt, me never give up. No, me never give in. And me I send up a prayer for the better living. I can't ball, so I better be sing. And so under the pressure, yeah, under the pressure. If your watch up, be take away now. We cheat na second, cause we all under pressure, my friend. Sometimes when you feel it, you cry down. I hurt your heart, you know, but do not make it stress, cause it I feel be better, not feel living at the ghetto, feel be under the pressure, my friend. It's serious, a lot of times I find it serious. Life is a little mysterious. Up we put and we can't even steer it up, oh no. I can't wait for morning come. Oh gosh, the night too long. Oh gosh, the fight too long. I can't wait to see the sun. Under the pressure, yeah, under the pressure. If your watch up, be take away now. We cheat na second, cause we all under pressure, my friend. Sometimes when you feel it, you cry down. I hurt your heart, you know, but do not make it stress, cause it I feel be better, not feel living at the ghetto, feel be under the pressure, my friend.
Yes, the pressure is real and the whole world I feel, yet we not give up. Overflowing up with up and the system corrupt. Look how hard some are work and it's still not enough. Who no lock down the world, no nobody now walk. And no food out in the house while the bills pile up. When you listen politician, you say wait a second. Do they feel the same as you and I do?
Under the pressure, yeah, under the pressure. If your watch up, be take away now. We cheat na second, cause we all under pressure, my friend. Sometimes when you feel it, you cry down. I hurt your heart, you know, but do not make it stress, cause it I feel be better, not feel living at the ghetto, feel be under the pressure, my friend.
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel like the richest man in Babylon, and I've done my best, so everything's alright inside. Oh, every morning, I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing. So when the evening comes, I lift up my eyes to the hills, I'm blessed, oh man. With my two hands in the air as far as I can. Yeah. As far as I can. I can, yeah. My two hands in the air as Lift up my eyes to the hills, I'm blessed, oh man. Ooh. Sometimes I'm lost and far from home, but I'll find my way. I follow my heart, I know I'll be found someday. While I'm lost, I learn and live. What do you say? Let's have a good time until that day. Oh, every morning I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing. So when the evening comes, I lift up my eyes to the hills, I'm blessed, oh man. With my two hands in the air as far as I can. Yeah, as far as I can. I can, yeah. My two hands in the air as far as I can. Oh, every morning I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing. Yeah. Lift up my eyes to the hills, I'm blessed, oh man. With my two hands in the air as far as I can. Yeah, as far as I can. I can, yeah. My two hands in the air as far as I can. I can, yeah. My two hands in the air as far as I can.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board Flight 5B from all around the world to Jamaica. My name is Anna and I will be your flight attendant for today. We expect to be in the air in approximately 4 minutes and the weather is propitious for learning. We ask that you please fasten your seat belts at this time, turn your camera on and turn off your microphones. We also ask that you already prepare your questions for our guest, Claudia from Jamaica. And when ready, please raise your hand, turn on your microphone, introduce yourself, and then ask your questions. Smoking is prohibited for the duration of this flight. If you have any questions about our flight today, please don't hesitate to ask one of our flight attendants. The duration of this flight is for 1 hour. If you have any questions, just ask, and thank you for choosing EF Students Group and enjoy your flight. So first, thank you, Claudia. Thank you very much for being with us today. We are very happy. And I will start with your question, and I will pass to other students, okay? So
Okay.
first, tell me a little about yourself, Claudia.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Yes. All right. So my name is Claudia and I'm from Jamaica, of course. And I'm a wife. I'm a mother of a daughter. She is busy in the background, so you may hear her for a bit. I am also a teacher here in my country. I am passionate about education, about learning and teaching others all that I know.
Oh, great, awesome. So now I will pass the talk to Antonella. Antonella is there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great, we can go.
Hi, teacher. Hi, everyone. I'm Antonella and I'm from Italy. It's my pleasure to meet you today, teacher, and to ask to these questions. So, where are you from exactly, and where do you live? So, is it in a big or a small city, or what do you prefer? Live?
Okay, so I am from St. Catherine, Jamaica, and the name of my city is Spanish Town. No, we do not speak Spanish here, only English. It's called Spanish Town because this is where the Spanish settled when they came to Jamaica. It's a small city, very small. I'm so sorry, guys. Just one.
The kid is afraid about the fly.
Yeah, she wants to make a lot of noise. Okay, so it's a small city, Spanish Town, and this is what I prefer because um, I don't like a lot of crowds. It's easier to talk to people in small settings, so I prefer the small city.
So, how about your hobbies? Tell us about your hobbies.
Sure. So, first of all, I know this isn't like a really big one, but I'm an English teacher, so I really love to read, and books take me to places, so I get excited about that. I also like going for walks, and I like going sightseeing, especially in my country, because there are so many things here to see. And the people here are very artsy. So there's a lot of, especially in the capital now, there are a lot of artwork on the buildings. So I'm really fascinated by that. And I like traveling. It's expensive, so I don't get to do that a lot, but that is something that I love to do too.
So, and last question sounds very interesting, teacher. Thank you. And so, what is your mother language, and which languages can you speak? So, I mean, are you interesting to learn new languages? And if the answer is yes, which one and why? No.
Okay, so the official language
No.
of
No.
Jamaica is. Oh,
What did you do?
sorry.
We're turbulence, but it's okay. It's okay. Everyone's safe.
So the official language of Jamaica is English, and our dialect or our mother tongue is called Patois. It's broken English, but it's like a mixture of all the persons who settled here in our history. So you may travel to Jamaica and you wonder, are they speaking Spanish or French or English? What is it? When we talk our patois, it's because all those persons settled here. So it's a mixture of all those languages. Um, Currently, I studied Spanish in college, a little bit in high school, and I had to study Spanish again in college. But it's been a while since I graduated from college, so I'm so rusty. So I do try to practice with Duolingo, but that's the second language I prefer to learn. That and also Portuguese because majority of my students are from Spanish speaking country and most of them are from Brazil. So I think I should learn that.
So, thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
Now I see that Adriano have a question, right? Go ahead.
Yes, hello, Teacher Claudia. Welcome. I'm very excited to have you here in this plan, in this flight. Okay, let's
Awesome.
go. Teacher, if you had the chance to move to another country, what would you be and why?
So if I had the chance to move to another country, I would say maybe Canada or Finland, and it's because they have really great education system. We do have great education system here in Jamaica, but I think about Canada or Finland because they're very family oriented and they're first world countries. So the economic situation in those countries are much more better than the economic situation in my country. And as a mother, I think about my child when I think about these things, to be able to provide a better state of living for her. So that's my reason.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, teacher, I'm very passionate about Jamaica. Please recommend a movie, a song, a book, and a tourist spot so we can get know more about your culture. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. So I can think of so many, and I've been thinking about this for the past week, and I've been trying to narrow it down to one, but it's just so difficult. So I'll tell you, my favorite Jamaican movie is I don't have one favorite. I'm sorry, guys. So I'll just list some. So there's one called The Lunatic. It's about an interracial couple. There's a woman who came over from overseas and she met a Jamaican man. He is a little bit crazy, but in a funny way. And they both decided to go into a relationship and cause a lot of mayhem. So it's really funny. Then there's another one that's called Smile Orange. I love that one. It's written by Jimmy Cliff, a famous Jamaican. He does a lot of reggae music. He's not as popular as Bob Marley, but is famous for reggae music too. And there's Cool Runnings. You guys, maybe it will be easier for you guys to understand the dialect in Cool Runnings because there's more English with the patois there, so it would be easier for you to understand. So those are the three that I will give you today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The song that I like are, well, the first is that last one that you guys were playing when I entered the room. I'm blessed by I Can by Chronics. I love that song. Like it's really something positive to listen to in the morning. And the video, it definitely depicts Jamaican living. It didn't just show tourist attractions, but it shows like the culture, the lifestyle of the people. So I love it so much. And I get goosebumps talking about it. And there's another one. Unfortunately, I didn't get to enter the platform early enough, so I don't know if it was played. There's one called The Strength of a Woman by Shaggy. I think the ladies will love this one too. It really talks about how amazing women are, you know? So that's why I love that one. And then there's another one called She's Royal by Taurus Riley, sorry. And this one I love because it encourages us to embrace our natural beauty. And that's why I love it so much. The What was the other thing you asked me to mention?
The tourist spot.
Tourist spot. So tourists, they tend to love Duns River Falls, and it's beautiful. I can see why. It's like the falls run into a river and it runs into the ocean. So when you go into the ocean, just where the falls enter the river, it's like really cold, but it's refreshing. And the water right there in the ocean, it's very fresh, so it doesn't get salty for you. And also there's this falls that you get to climb the falls. So tourists love doing that together, and the tour guides, they're really awesome, very friendly. They make it so interesting and fun to do. Also, there's another attraction that I love. It's called Dolphin Cove. When you go there, you get to see some birds, animals. You get to see some parrots. You interact with them too. Also, there's an area for dolphins that you can swim with the dolphins. I didn't do that one. I was a little bit scared, but I did pet an iguana, so I think that's adventurous enough for me. Um, and what was the other one?
That's it. That's it. Maybe you can share with us in the whole group, the WhatsApp, and we can find out about this Jamaica.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
Jamaica, because in Portuguese, Jamaica, sometimes I speak about Jamaica.
That is fine. That is quite fine.
Okay, teacher, could you please tell a famous person who inspires you and why?
Sure. So, if I have to choose, I would choose. Oh my gosh, it's between Dr. Louise Bennett Coverly and Bob Marley, but I can choose them both because they did the same thing. They basically put Jamaica on the map. If you look at the map, you can barely see Jamaica because it's like just this tiny dot on the map. But if it wasn't for Dr. Louise Bennett Coverly or Bob Marley, we wouldn't be so well known, and it's because they embraced our culture. They weren't afraid to be Jamaicans even in the public eye. So earlier I mentioned our mother tongue, which is a fusion of all the languages that have been here, and really like a lot of broken English. And some people, they get embarrassed to speak this way, especially when they're in public or when we have visitors from another country. But it's something that I love, and the sound, just listening to the sound of the people speaking naturally and the rhythm of the language, I love it so much. And Dr. Louise Bennett Coverly, she did a lot of Jamaican poems and a lot of Jamaican plays that she brought to Europe, and they became so famous. People fell in love with our language, and eventually the rest of our culture. And that is why I admire her so much. So whenever I travel, I I don't always speak like this, especially if I meet persons from the Caribbean or from Jamaica. I definitely speak in patois because something I love to do, and it's so expressive. Also, I love Bob Marley, and he inspires me because I am a peaceful person, and it's something that he really, really put on the forefront in all areas of his life. He definitely wanted peace. It was especially during a time where people were there were so many rebellions, so many revolutions, and he just wanted it all to end. He didn't like war. And this is basically the essence of his music, what it's all about, you know? So, and I admire that during that time where so many persons fought against him because he was preaching peace, he still stood up for what he believed, and he still persevered through it all. So that really inspires me.
Me too, teacher. I really love Bob Marley. Bob Marley is a king of the reggae.
He is. And he was so awesome with his music, genius.
Yes, a genius. I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, teacher.
you're welcome.
Now I see that is Aditya time. Aditya, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Hannah. Okay, thank you for the time. First of all, nice to meet you, teacher Claudia. Nice to
Nice to
meet
meet
you
you
all.
too.
I think this one, I see some new faces that I haven't met before. Well, nice to meet you. Well, the question, well, first of all, I'm from Indonesia. I am also a teacher, but I am an elementary teacher. So I'm teaching kids, children. I
Awesome.
think, I think different age and different technique as well in teaching. So my
Hmm.
question would be, what drove you to be a teacher? Do you have a relative that is a teacher, and then you see him or her? Oh, I want to be a teacher someday. So what made your life end up as a teacher?
Well, like I stated earlier, it's really just my passion for education. I was one of those kids who loved school growing up. I don't know why. My friends all found it weird, but I did love school. I love learning, and it's just something that I've been passionate about. And then as I got older, I was trying to figure out which career I wanted to do. But I realized I just wanted to talk to people and tell them all the things that I know. And what best way to do that than to teach? So that's how I made that decision to become a teacher.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, it's good that you realized since earlier. I found out that I liked teaching, but after a couple of years, I worked in a company, and then I realized that I like teaching. I like to share the knowledge, and then I see it gives me satisfactory when I see my
Yeah.
students improve. Like,
Yes,
so,
yes.
oh, okay. So now I like teaching. So at that times, since that I have to dedicate my life to be a teacher. All right. So it's really impressing for me.
Just a minute, please. Just 1 minute.
All right. Yes. Hi.
Joanna, can you please ask where's to our plane?
Yes.
Where else?
Okay, you can go ahead.
All right. So I think there are two questions, but I will wrap up into one. So, what's your story behind your life? How did you end up at EF teachers? And then, do you have another job as a teacher in outside over there besides EF?
Okay. Yeah. Just let me get rid of that bright light. All right. So yeah, for EF, it wasn't it wasn't something that I knew about when around the time that I was job seeking. So I became pregnant with my daughter, and I wanted to be able to. She's my first child, only child, and I wanted to be able to be really into that pregnancy. And after giving birth, I really wanted to be there and to spend
Yes.
as much time as possible with her, you know. So a
Mhm.
friend of mine, she introduced me to EF, and she told me that it's something that I can do from home and the hours are
Oh,
flexible. And I was like, this is so perfect. And then she said, it's international. You get to meet people from all across the world. And I was like, this is awesome. This is like traveling. And that's how I became part of EF. I was really excited about it because I do drill my students sometimes about where they're from. Sometimes I even, bypass the lesson maybe for a few minutes just to find out more about their culture. And they're
Mm.
always so willing to share. So that is something that I really love about EF. And yes, I have another job here in my country. I'm a teacher at a secondary school or high school, and I
Uh,
teach English and literacy to the students there.
oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now, back to you, Anna. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. The next student is Jida. Are you there, Jida?
Yes, I am. Hi everyone, I'm Lida. I'm from France and I'm a civil engineer. I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you. I have some questions for you, teacher. Do you have any funny or unusual fact that you can remember from group classes that you can share with us?
Sure. So I've had funny thing. So there was a time when I was having a group lesson and I welcomed the students as I usually do. Then I looked at the screen and I realized that all the mics were muted. So I only had listeners in the class. So I tried to coax them and encourage them to open their mics and participate. I was like, so today we have only listeners, but I really want this lesson to be fun and interactive. So why don't some of you guys open your mics if you can and let's have a conversation. I waited for a few moments. Nothing. So I was like, oh Jesus, I really don't know what to do in a situation like this. So I was like, okay, since you guys are only listening today, I will do the talking for you. And I did the entire lesson with just listeners. And throughout the lesson, I thought at least one person would open their mic, but they did not. So when I was done at the end of the lesson, I was like, so guys, we're at the end of the lesson now. Do you guys have any questions? They did not open their mics. However, someone typed in the chat, no questions, thank you. I was like, okay, thank you for being here. I hope this was helpful to you. Bye. So there was that time. And another time I had a class with only one student. I we finished the content before the end of the lesson because group lessons don't carry a lot of content, so it gives the students time to speak. And I was done before the end of the class, but thankfully, I'm a type of person who likes to ask questions, especially about a person's culture. So we had a conversation about their culture and so on, and they asked me questions. So that was fun. It was like doing a private lesson.
Oh, yes, that's true. And how can you do to encourage introvert students to participate actively? Do you have some tools or any other thing that you can do?
I wouldn't say it's a special tool or anything special. I just really try to use my personality. And there are students who are really shy. They don't want to speak at all. So some of them will say this when they introduce their themselves that, hey, I'm a shy student, like my English is bad, so I'm really scared. And I do tell them it's okay. We're all here to learn. And fortunately for me, I've had other students who are so encouraging of each other. So when the other students try, they try to help them too. Also, I encourage my students that if you're having difficulty speaking and you're not very confident, it's okay to type in the chat. If you have a response, a question, I will address it. And I usually talk to them in the chat too. So by the end of the lesson, they usually say, thank you, miss, open their mics and speak, say what they want to. And that's basically how I've been doing it so far.
Yeah. In which country do you have students with more interactions?
I would have to say Brazil because they're the largest number of people on the platform and they're always just so enthusiastic, so talkative. They always want to participate. So mostly Brazilian students.
Okay. And how do you evaluate students in a group classes?
In group classes, I usually look out for participation because there are a lot of persons on that platform. So I need to listen to them speak as much as possible so I can listen to the grammar and their pronunciation of the words. So it's heavily reliant on participation for me because that's when I get to hear them speak. And I look out for pronunciation, especially, and a sentence structure because I realize with students that you guys tend to translate from your mother language. So the grammar rules in your language is different from the grammar rules in English. So that's something that I have to listen out for and to make it correct before the end of the lesson.
Oh, okay, that's good. And which country's accent is very hard to understand?
The accent that is hardest, I would say there are some persons who are from parts of China that it's a little bit harder for me to understand them. Like Hong Kong students are easier to understand, but like from rural parts of China, it's a little bit difficult because their pronunciation of the words are different. It would almost sound as if the word is incomplete. So that I have to be a keen listener for that one.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer. And thank you all for the time.
You're welcome.
So now I see that Peter Shu have some questions. You can go, Peter.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, teacher, everyone. Peter from Taiwan.
Hi, Peter.
Yeah, my first question is, can you give us some tips to improve the English pronunciation?
Sure. So, for English pronunciation, you know there are variations because we have the British English and then we have the American English. And what I usually do recommend to persons, there are some videos from TED Talk that the persons they have very good pronunciation and they do not speak at a very fast pace. It's moderate, so it's it gives you time to listen to the word and to restate what they said. Also, listening to podcasts and the news, especially BBC News, it helps to enhance the pronunciation. But along with that, you have to practice on your own also. So if you learn a new word and you learn for the pronunciation for that, it's best to make sentences with that word. Try to remember it. Use it in various situations so you can become very familiar with it.
Yes, I agree. Also, the Alexa is good for our pronunciation. Thank you, Adriana. Yeah, my second question is, what advice would you give students who are struggling with vocabulary at group classes?
Okay, so for vocabulary building, it is something that I would suggest that you practice outside of class. So when you come to class, you can use the vocabulary, and the teacher will let you know if you're using it in the correct context or incorrect context. So she will help you to fix whatever issues you're having with that vocabulary. But on your own, I suggest like watching movies, watching podcast, listening to podcasts because the way they speak in a movie is different than the way they'll talk in a podcast or on a platform like TED Talk and even also like you guys use. So learning new words from these situations, also by reading, you find a new word, it would be best to highlight it or even have a book that you have for English only. So whenever you learn new vocabulary, new expressions, you write them down, you study them. So when you get to group lesson, you can use them, you can flaunt your stuff. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, when I cannot explain myself in English very well, I always use my body languages.
So
Yeah.
yes, using body language and gestures is good. So the other speaker will be able to know what you're saying, and by practicing also, it's if you're a shy student currently, I would encourage you to practice in your group lessons, even if you're bad at English, because this is what helps you the most. By practicing, you become better. The more you speak the language, you become better, and also not just talking. It's very important to listen to the English speakers so you
Mhm.
can imitate what they're saying and you can
Yeah.
understand better.
Yeah. Thank you. Next, what is the main difficulty that you are used to encounter in learning English in your student?
So as I mentioned earlier, it is you guys tend to translate from your mother tongue, your mother language to English. And like I stated, the rules of grammar are very different between the languages. So sometimes you do your translation and the sentence structure it's incorrect. So you have to pay attention to that when you're talking in English. Subject and verb has to agree. You have to use the correct tenses. So those are some grammatical errors that I usually encounter.
Okay, my last question is, do you have some piece of advice to give your student for improving the confidence with English languages?
Sure. So before I mention that one, I said just now that the main difficulty that I have is the translation from the language. So I would suggest that you guys not just rely heavily on interacting with teachers on the EF platform, but if you can do some grammar activities on your own, that would be good. And also, like, there are so many foundations for this because I'm a literacy specialist in my area. So I'm thinking of all of them. It's a lot. But if you can practice on your own too, it makes it easier for you. So when you get to class, if there's something that you're not sure of, you can always ask your teacher. It's okay for us to answer those questions even if they aren't a part of the lesson. Also, to improve confidence is to practice to speak. So the more you speak, you build your vocabulary, your pronunciation becomes better, and then you'll be having a conversation on a platform like this without feeling as if your English is bad, without wanting to look at the other person. So speak as much as possible in English. Even if you're at home talking to yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the face and say what you're saying in English until you become confident and you're able to look at another person while doing this.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you, everyone. That's it.
You're welcome, Peter.
Great. Now it's time for Warney, right? It's your time, Warney. And I encourage everyone that has a questions to put in the chat so I can see who is next, okay? Let's not be shy.
I think it's me. The name is wrong. I'm also Peter, but I'm Peter from Switzerland. Um, I have a question for you. I also love the film Cool Runnings, which you mentioned.
It's a good one.
Have you followed the bobsleigh teams of Jamaica to the Beijing Olympic Games? After 24 years in Calgary, Jamaica had once again a team at the Olympic Games in Beijing. Have you followed your team?
Unfortunately, Peter, I have not been having a chance to follow them in the Winter Games recently because I've been so busy with online work and working at the school. But I am so proud of them. I heard the highlights on the news. And guys, if you aren't aware, Jamaica is a very warm place, and bobsledding is something that's done on ice. So we do not have any form of ice in Jamaica. And to be able to qualify, just to qualify to be there, that is an achievement.
Yes,
So I'm really proud of our team.
Yeah, it really is. And for the film, and or I think also for Calgary, for now for Beijing, I don't know, they trained in Switzerland. They trained in St. Moritz on the bobsleigh there. I have seen the Jamaica team. I was then in St. Moritz, and I have seen the your team training on the channel, on the ice channel, and it's hard work to go down with bobsleigh, really. Yeah. And by the way, I love talking to someone who lives in a smaller country and with less inhabitants than I live in Switzerland. In a EF class, I'm always in the smallest country, which is not a lot of inhabitants, and a big city like I live here where I live here, I live in Basel, the north of Switzerland, has 200,000 inhabitants, not more than that. And for the world, it's 200,000 inhabitants, not a big city.
We have about 3 million people in Jamaica.
We have 8.5 million. I know that we have not as many as we have, and also the kilometer square are not as big as Switzerland, even when Switzerland is a very small country.
Yes, that is true.
Not so hot as Jamaica.
No, but I would like to visit Switzerland, not to stay, just to visit to see the culture.
Claudia, you are welcome.
Awesome.
And when you want to snow, next week I will move in my flat in the mountains. I have a flat in the mountains, 1,600 meters. There is plenty of snow, and there I will ski again, either on a glacier of 3,200 meters or another glacier with 3,600
That's very
meters.
high.
From this glacier, I can see 18 peaks, 18 mountains, which are higher than 4,000 meters.
Wow. Do you go out now, or do you wait till it's warm?
I'm now in the north of Switzerland, in Basel, at the border of Germany and France. But next week I will move in my flat. Next week I will move in my flat for some days, and then I will ski. Yes, I'm retired. Therefore I have time.
Oh, you have time to have fun. Awesome. It's nice meeting you, Peter, and hopefully I'll be able to afford a trip to Switzerland. We could do some skiing. That is something I look forward to. Yes.
I will be your coach.
Awesome.
Great. Now, Jacqueline, you can go, and then Michelle go after her. Okay?
Okay, good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you, Claudia. I'd like to know what's the best proverb of your country that you know about?
The best product?
Proverb. Yeah.
Proverb? Let me see. All right, so the only one that comes to mind right now, if I remember another one later, I will share. But the proverb that I remember right now, it goes like this: Chicken Mary, the near. Chicken Mary, the near. So it means that, like, usually our parents will say this to us when we're growing up because we're having so much fun. So the chicken is merry, and the hawk, the parents, they're nearby, meaning that, hey, when it's time to finish the playing and you don't want to finish, they're going to discipline you. Also, it can be used in other situations. Usually, sometimes when we're having so much fun or we're having a really good time in our lives and there's a bad situation pending that we do not know about. So while we're having fun, that is near, it's upcoming. That's the one I remember right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Now, Michelle, you can go.
Hello, teacher. Hello, everybody. I'm Michele from Italy. Nice to meet you. My pleasure to be here with you. I have two questions. How long have you been working for YF English? And what do you think is better to keep a teacher, only one teacher for private lesson, or is better change teacher every 2 or 3 weeks?
Okay, I've been working with EF since January 2018. Could you repeat the last part of the question?
What do you think about change teacher every 2 or 3 weeks? Is better keep only one teacher or change teacher every week, every 2 weeks?
Okay, so I think that is dependent on the student. So it's basically if you have a good relationship with your teacher, let's say that the way the teacher speaks, you're able to understand them clearly, they're able to understand you easily, then I'd suggest you use that teacher as long as possible. But if it's a situation where they the interaction is a little bit more forced or it's struggling, then I'd suggest you change your teacher until you find one that you're able to interact with better.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. I see that teacher Jean Marie is with us. Teacher, do you want to talk a little with us? Do you have a question?
Hi. I'm so sorry I'm late.
No problem, not at all.
But I don't know what has been asked, and I'm so sorry.
That is okay.
So
no problem, teacher.
Where are you from?
I don't. Oh, okay. I suppose yes. Let me give an introduction. My name is Jean Marie. I come from Zimbabwe, which is in the southern part of Africa. I've been teaching with EF to May 20. Yes. And I'm still here.
Awesome.
Yes. Lovely to meet you all. Yes.
Nice to meet you too.
Lovely to meet you all.
And
nice to meet you too.
And we're looking for the next interview with the teacher to know more about
yes. Yes.
Awesome. So I don't know if you caught when I said that I've been working with EF since January 2018. So I've been here for 4 years, still going, would love to keep going. It's something that I love doing.
Yes.
It's so nice being able to have all these people from across the world in my home and to be able to learn more about their cultures. Also, so far, I've been fortunate to meet people who are very willing to share, to share their lives, to share their experiences, to tell me about their country. And there's no embarrassment, there's no shame. Everyone is so proud of where they're from. So it's been awesome having that experience on the EF platform so far.
Thank you very much, Teacher Claudia, for scheduling your time with us for this meeting. We are very happy for this meeting, and I believe that everyone could thank you for this. And I will finish now, but Adriana will put a slide about this group. So on behalf of EF Students Group and the entire crew, I would like to thank you for joining us this trip to Jamaica. Our goal is to become a multicultural group with 50 nationalities by the end of this year, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. We also encourage you to be a host for our next meeting. So let us know in your group if you want to do that. Okay. So thank you. Have a nice day, even night stay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, teacher. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, Anna, you did such a good job.
I'm feeling very Olympic today.
I was very nervous. Thank you.
You did great.